הפודקאסט בחסות דאטה מדיה, המלווה ומייעצת לחברות בארץ ובחול בנושא אימייל מרקטינג, אווירות אימיילים ובחירה והטמעה של מערכות דיוור.
They said something about this will eliminate email for your entire company. And I'm like, no, it won't. Right. And you know, all these companies keep coming out and saying this is the end of email. Guess what? It's not. We've been around for a while. Not to get overconfident, but the channel is what is going to be the downfall of email. People's overuse or misuse of it, not another technology.
Hello and welcome to episode number 8 of EmailGeeks.show, the podcast where once a month the leading email experts share their knowledge about email marketing, email deliverability, and marketing. My guest today is Phelan, managing partner at RPEOrigin. My name is Sela Yofe and I'm an email deliverability consultant. I'm working with global email senders, startups, and email service providers on improving their email deliverability, email authentication, and email strategy. And I'm the host of this podcast. I'm always starting by asking my guests, how did they get into email? You have quite an exciting story to tell.
Oh, gosh. So back in 1989... and I really fell into it. Yeah. So I was running nightclubs. I was a DJ and a manager at a nightclub in Omaha, Nebraska. And so the money is not the greatest in nightclub life. It was a lot of fun, and I had a ton of free drinks. But I finally decided to pull the trigger, and the internet stuff and startups were everywhere. And there was one in Omaha named giftpoint.com, and they were advertising. They said, don't send us a resume, send us a letter about why you want to work here and make it fun and interesting because we want creative people. Mm-hmm. I'm like, fantastic. And so I wrote this cover letter that said, you know, I work at a nightclub, I'm a DJ, we have national acts that come through here all the time, and I'd love to come work there. And I got 2 interviews with the CEO, and they were mostly like 75% were asking me stories about all the national artists we got through. And then finally I met with the head of marketing. She says, I don't know what to do with you, but we're going to put you in charge of email marketing and affiliate marketing. And you go do something with it because we don't know what to do with it. I'm like, fantastic, let's do this. And that's how I fell into email. And I pursued affiliate marketing rather strong. Mm-hmm. And with 2 other friends of mine at the time, we founded Affiliate Summit and really got a name for myself in the affiliate world, mm-hmm. while still doing email. And then at a point in time, I was like, nah, I kind of like the email thing better. And then those 2 took that organization, made it great, did a fantastic job. But you know, I really latched onto email starting back in '89 and just went from there.
On a recent episode of the show, we had the pleasure hosting Chris Marriott from Email Connect, a company that specialized in RFPs. During the discussion, Chris revealed that his company, in collaboration with your agency, RPEOrigin, to facilitate the migration of email service providers following the RFP process.
We are one of the only email-centric, vendor-agnostic agencies in the space. So at any given point in time, we will be in 20 or 30 different platforms during a year. And what Red Pill Email started off with was a company that primarily did a lot of migrations and RFPs for companies.
Okay.
To move our ESPs. Mm-hmm. And we've continued that over the years. We now do probably 2 or 3 a year, both RFPs and migrations for companies. But our services are really now an end-to-end solution for enterprise companies. So anything from the strategy of a program through to pushing the button and everything in between. So creative services, data sciences, CRM strategy, email design, you name it. If it exists in email, we do it. And we've grown substantially over the years. And it's been a fun ride. We've got some phenomenally smart people that have been in this industry for 10, 15, 20 years. And so we really work with enterprise and mid-market companies on how to propel their email program forward and accelerate their innovation.
I see many small and medium companies working with email agencies, while enterprises commonly do it in-house.
They still do. So they still have their operations inside, and they still have a staff. What we find is that a lot of our customers, our client partners, really are looking for ways to accelerate, like I said, accelerate their innovation, accelerate the things that they want to get done. And they, the team they have is just focused on getting an email out the door, or operation, day-to-day operations.
Yeah.
And they don't have the time to drive extra things. And so we'll be brought in for a couple different reasons. Number one, to evaluate and audit their program and give them recommendations on what they should do. Second, staff augmentation. So companies have, for example, we have gotten recently a lot of companies that call us, and one of the people on their team is going on maternity leave. So they need somebody to fill in and do their job while they're gone on maternity, and then lift out, right? But then we do a lot of, hey, I want to do these 5 things and I need to get them done in 6 months. Can you do that? And so we'll go in and design the emails, the strategy, define the tactics, load the campaign in, do the testing, setup, and everything. So it's hands-free for them.
Yeah.
And so it's just, we are a jack of all trades for companies, whether or not they need us to, we don't necessarily run an email program, but we stand side by side with their team as an extension.
What are the most common mistakes that marketers are making in email marketing, in your opinion?
Do we have enough time for this?
Yeah, I know.
You know what? The most common, and I write about this a lot, is as email marketers, we are constantly barraged with the need of the day. And I call them screaming down the hall moments, or just your normal program. We're trying to get an email out because somebody missed their numbers, revenue's down, or this program has to go out, and we're just barraged with getting an email out the door. And as marketers, beyond just email marketing, we're very good at the tactics. Get a bunch of marketers in a room and say, we need to get this done. All of our minds go instantly toward, okay, I got to line up this list and this person and that person, and I got to load it in here, and I set all my timelines, and I'm done. The biggest mistake I think that marketers make is not taking that prerequisite step of the strategy and answering the question, why should the consumer give a damn about what we're doing? And that strategic step helps inform and keep everybody on the center path of what the goal is. And so the biggest challenge is really taking that 5, 10, 15 hour, day, whatever, to define the strategy of something first, and then the tactics second.
Yeah.
Right? Because you got to understand why in the heck you're doing it. It's called, many call it with the reason to believe moment, right? I just call it the give a damn moment.
What else?
So we're constantly underfunded. And I think one of the challenges for marketers is we're underfunded as an industry because we don't publicize our own greatness.
Yeah.
One of the things I talk about is, when was the last time you did a lunch and learn for your organization about how great your program is, or the successes, or the process that you go through to launch an email? How educated is your internal organization on your program and the greatness of it? And I think if we as marketers started sharing those things, those successes, those metrics, those processes that show that email just isn't as easy as Microsoft Outlook, that we would have a better success rate on funding and personnel in our programs. The last thing I think is, there are a lot of challenges in every aspect of marketing. I don't think email is alone in that. We've just been around for a lot more years, so it got a lot more scars. But I think, I don't know if it's the biggest problem, but I think one of them should be email marketers should be patting themselves in the back a whole lot, because we do a lot with not very darn much. I think that, we don't give ourselves enough credit and have that self-confidence that leads to the publicization of our program internally and to the standing up and say, we need a strategy first, I'm just not a doer, I'm a thinker. I think all those things flow together. So I think those are the top challenges. There's a lot of mini nitpicky things of not taking an audit, not revamping your triggered programs, not doing, self audits all the time. I mean, there's a lot of that stuff, but that's pervasive with all marketing. The three that I mentioned are kind of the big ones that I see for email.
Many digital agencies do all things digital and also email marketing for their clients. What's your opinion on that jack of all trades approach?
I love that approach because a lot of those agencies call us for help. You would be surprised at the number of broad agencies that use us behind the scenes secretly to do their email marketing. Listen, there are a majority of agencies out there, almost all of them, that are broad digital. You look at Y&R Draft, Ogilvy, all of the big players out there, right? Merkle. You look at the Merkle Group, you look at the company that owns Merkle, and they're all focused on everything. I want to do everything in digital. I want to do social, CRM, and that's great. But we have focused on email is big enough to have its own agency and its own focus.
And email is hard.
And it is hard. It's not an easy science. And what we have found is that a lot of those agencies take the same opinion that a lot of our companies do that just treat email as, it's just another email. We're going to come up with this big elaborate strategy and, we're going to send an email about it. That's the disconnect, is that email is not a discretionary medium. It is not a just another blah, right? It takes a focus and a strategy, and because of its complexity. And so a lot of those agencies, and we use it in our pitch deck, a lot of those agencies, they do email.
Yeah.
Us, we've lived it. We're bringing a whole lot more experience than some of the biggest agencies in the world.
Yeah.
Because we know it deserves the focus we're giving it.
I spoke with the clients that implemented, the top-notch ESPs and automation platform, and what basically they're saying, we just can't make it work. And I know that your agency also focuses on migration between platforms. What can you share about the right way to do migration? What clients should expect? How long it's going to take, etc.?
So, and that's a great question, because we find this a lot, right? We just completed an RFP, and I can't name the name of the company, but they're moving because their implementation of the other platform was a horrific mess. And they just needed to start over. And so they used us to not only run the RFP, but they're using us to migrate. The biggest key I would say is, and this is not a plug for my company, but get somebody to help you, right? Nobody comes out of college, or even if you've worked in email for 10 years, knows how to properly do an ESP migration, right? The biggest mistake that people make is that they rush into it on the ESP's schedule. The ESP can't recognize, in most cases, the revenue of the contract until you start sending.
Yeah.
And so what do they want you to do? They want you to start sending as fast as possible. But our methodology has been take your time and scope out everything that interacts with email, from your process to your people to your data, and not just your data warehouse, but what data comes in, what data goes out, where's your APIs. We take the steps of documenting a process and their infrastructure around email. And we develop a migration manual to say, these are the things we're going to move at this time. This is the process. We're going to move methodically in moving your stuff from A to B. It's not a lift and shift, it's a lift and innovate. And so we take the time and not rush into it. A lot of the mistakes that are made during migration is because you go too fast and you forget something.
Yeah.
So our average discovery for an ESP generally takes a month for us to work with every department that touches, interacts, or depends on email. And then we document everything, have those people that we interviewed validate that we're right in what we wrote down, and then we publish a migration document. We follow that to the letter involving the ESP along the way. We have done some in a month. Month is about our minimum. Yeah. We're doing one now that's going to take 6 months to do. It just depends on the size and scope of the organization. Yeah. But the key is that we're documenting everything and writing it all down so we don't forget anything. We have had way too many times where we run into an RFP and they're telling us about our pain points, and they talk about programs that are still running on an old ESP and they don't know where they come from. It's like, well, okay, that's silly. But, it's just slow down, because it's a bear of a project. It has the ability to kill you if you don't have help.
Your agency is doing email platform migrations. In many cases, organizations can't do it at once. They need to do it slice by slice.
Yes, you do need to do it slice by slice. And you also have to realize that when you do a migration, the out-of-the-box thinking on a migration is that the ESP will do it all for you. Yeah. Well, the ESP won't, because they do data at the door, which means they take their connections, their APIs, their integration, their list, all at their doorstep, and then they suck it in. But they can't get into your legacy platform. They can't get into your internal systems. And so you have a limitation of the ESP, but then also the people working on the migration internally are taking time to do that project and taking away from revenue generation. That's why we can come in and we can say, let us document it for you, spend a little bit of time, and we'll tell you what's got to do. There's going to have to be work done. Yeah. But at least we're taking a lot of the discovery and a lot of the beginning steps off of that plate so that you can schedule the resources appropriately.
Some tectonic shifts are shaking the email industry. Things like tabs first appears with Gmail and now with Apple Mail. Before that, there was Apple MPP. Do you think that email power is declining?
We've always had things thrown at us. We have always been we have suffered consequences because of our standing and reach, right? But even with all of that, we continue to be that number 1 or 2 ROI channel. And number 1 more times than not, right? And I think that continues. I think that there are a couple spots on the horizon that maybe change the nature of email. I think privacy is probably the top one on my list. And what does federal privacy legislation look like? But, I think the privacy legislation is going to be one where we not only want a voice, and that's where great organizations like the ANA and the ESPC can give us some support there. Beyond privacy is just how does the volume, which continues to increase to consumers, affect how consumers think about email, right? Yeah. Google implements tabs to just kind of sort everything out so it's manageable, right? The nice thing about email is that the consumer keeps coming back to it. You can block images and allow, make customers turn them on. You can put it into tabs. You can take away our opens. But at the end of the day, email is they're still coming back to email. So I think that it is what gets us through those times is 3 things. Number 1, the organizations that have been around forever. The 2 I mentioned before, the UK DMA is incredibly strong in leadership that permeates the US consciousness. I think the thought leadership class the people out there that are thought leaders in the space, help people navigate. We saw that with MPP and the number of people that came out to do webinars and articles and all those things to kind of guide people through and give context.
Yeah.
And then the third thing is the conference circuit. If you look at the Only Influencers show, if you look at Media Post Insider Summit, if you look at the ANA show, there's always a number of speakers that are talking about how to deal with things and again, take people to a common understanding of what's going on. So sure, there may be crap in the future, but I think that we as an industry are tight enough to navigate that challenge.
I see many marketeers bragging about their SMS and WhatsApp marketing campaigns. Do you think that SMS or WhatsApp are better marketing channels?
You know what I find interesting is that every channel has a rule about its engagement. People make the mistake of trying to cross the streams to say, what if WhatsApp becomes email? And it's like, well, I don't necessarily see how WhatsApp can become email because WhatsApp is an instant messenger device, right? And that's been around since '89 and AOL, right? I mean, it hasn't taken it over yet. It's been around for a while.
Yeah.
WhatsApp is cool, but I think we also get to a point of this critical mass of communication where, hell, I can be sitting at my desk and a sound will go off and I won't have a clue where it came from. Was it WhatsApp or Slack or Outlook, or was it, LinkedIn with their chat, or, I think consumers are going to get to the point where the notifications on your phone are as frustrating as some of the notifications on your computer. I just, maybe it's the old fart in me coming out, but I just don't, I don't see how, I think people really need to think through the channel definition and remember that channel exists for that definition.
I think it's the same with organizational and internal messaging. Yes, it's cool to chat internally with Slack or Teams or whatever, but when clients message me on work-related things on WhatsApp, I tell them they're writing on ice. I specifically ask them to write me an email. I know it will be there for me to find years ahead if necessary, while trying to find messages on WhatsApp from last week is impossible sometimes.
Oh yeah, a mile long WhatsApp thing, right? And how many SaaS companies have come out and said this is the email killer?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
There was a company, what was it? It was a project management company. I can't remember the name of the company, but they said something about this will eliminate email for your entire company. And I'm like, no, it won't. No. Right? And all these companies keep coming out and saying this is the end of email. Guess what? It's not. We've been around for a while. Not to get overconfident, but the channel is what is going to be the downfall of email. People's overuse or misuse of it, not another technology. Unless there's another technology that makes email incredibly smart, incredibly coherent and contextual. You think about the movie that everybody quotes about the future, and they have the email. Email is actually on a screen and it's read by a computer and all that crap. That would be cool, right? That may change.
Minority Report.
Yeah, Minority Report, right? That may change the nature of email if there's a technology to really. You thought tabs was bad. Wait till Angie, the super email robot, gets in and sorts your email for you, right? That may change it, but I think, we're our own worst enemy when it comes to the channel health and livelihood.
We covered some channel rules and definitions and some of the mistakes marketeers make. Another one I see, even very large brands are doing it, is sending image-only emails. What do you think about that?
John Thies over at Email and Asset, the old Email and Asset, really was a proponent of driving the accessibility conversation, not only through his tool, which also Litmus does, right? But just bringing that to the forefront. John was out there all the time talking about this. And at the time, when he started talking about it, nobody was thinking about it, right? Yeah. But then he brought the numbers that said, here's how many people can't read your email. Yeah. And everybody's eyes just opened up and said, well, we have screwed the pooch. We have made a mistake here.
Yeah.
And everybody now, I think, focuses on it because, gosh, your parents are getting older. You see what happens there. You see the world around you in a more transparent way because of media and Facebook and all that stuff. And it's almost like you realize now there's an audience that we have a responsibility as a marketer to account for, and not just in a profitability conversation, but almost a moral responsibility for our programs to make sure that we take the steps so that we don't separate out people that have disabilities or handicaps or challenges from everybody else. And so I've always applauded John's work, and John's kind of faded out of the industry a little bit in his own thing, but I think that needs to continue to be a conversation that we have at the forefront so people don't forget it.
What is incremental innovation?
Yeah. A little thing I came up with a long time ago. So here's the theory. Here's the fact, really. Earlier, I talked about email marketers are doing all this stuff and no time to do it.
Yeah.
And I started talking about this back when I was at Adestra. I was... a long time ago. And I think I started talking about it at Axiom too. It is a methodology or an approach to innovation that says, don't build the whole program out and then launch it. Build one thing out and then launch it. I was talking about Agile before it was Agile.
Yeah.
Right? Which was take an Agile approach to your program development and incrementally make changes so that over time you have success instead of doing it all at once, right? Which is a huge time suck. So if you're a small program, 2 or 3 people, and you want to develop a trigger program that's 3 emails long, great. Develop the first one, launch the darn thing. And then when you have time, launch the second one. And then when you're got time, launch the third one. And nobody, people think that when you launch a new program, you have to do it all at once. There's this pressure to get it all done at once. And my position on it was nobody has said that. They've just told you that they did it.
Yeah.
But what's wrong with just incrementally innovating your program? I think marketers get paralyzed to say, I don't have the time to do the whole thing, so I'm not going to do the thing at all. Yeah. And so incremental innovation says, do the one thing, then do the second thing, then do the third thing. And by the end of the third thing, you got the thing that you didn't have time for. Incremental innovation really ties itself to the launch of a new program that may take you a period of time, right? If I'm going to launch an onboarding program, it may take me probably 3 months to do that if I'm also doing other stuff.
Yeah.
But instead of taking 3 months, what if you could have the first one out in a couple of weeks, just like you do a standard campaign? And then a month later, you launched the second one. And a month later, you launched the third one. You got it out the door. It just took you longer. I guess what I'm saying is don't be afraid to have innovation take a little while.
After so many years, do you still love email?
Oh, I love that question. That is 25 years worth of love and admiration for this industry. Listen, back in 98 in the 2000s, early 2000s was an exciting time for this industry. And it really defined where we're at today. You had an entire industry that was not focused on, and I'm just talking the email people. They were focused on educating and helping everybody answer the questions about what this email thing was and how it worked and how the internet worked and how we were going to navigate this. And I have fond memories of Only Influencers back in the day with all the questions that went around and all the conferences that I went to. And you had Lauren McDonald and Heather Palmer Goff, and you had Karen Talavera and Kath Pay and Gene Jennings. You had all these people up on stage, and their one goal was to make everybody smarter. Their second goal was to sell something, but it was like, hey, come visit me if you need some help. But this whole industry was just focused early on at giving information and helping people excel. And that's an industry that I walked into, and this is one of the closest industries that I can see in any other channel that's out there. We still have so many different groups to help everybody at every level to advance the mission of email. And this is really a community. And that's why I love email, is because it is truly a community. I can go to a conference and I will see friends that I've seen over the last 25 years. And it's like we just left each other yesterday and we're sitting down for beer and trading stuff and talking about things. Some of my closest friends are in this industry.
Yeah.
And every time I look around, whether it's only influencers or whether it's the Email Geek Slack channel or whether it's, whatever it is, Twitter, for God's sake. Everybody is focused on making people smarter. I was talking to a guy at Media Post, and I was talking to him about the show, and because they do the email shows, and they also do mobile and social and all these other publishing and all this stuff. And his one comment was, I love doing the email show because you guys generally have a love for each other. You will get on stage and debate things, or you may get up and pitch your business. But that evening, you're sitting with your closest competitor having a beer, and I totally agree with that and see that in the industry. I've been at pitches in different cities where my competitor is a friend of mine, and we know they're there, and we are going. Everybody pitches their stuff, and everybody says they got the best stuff, and everybody's their stuff is awesome. And then as soon as all the pitches are done, we're back at the hotel and we're all having dinner or drinks or sitting around talking and whatever. And we don't care about the competition part. That'll take care of itself. What I love about email is just, we are a community of dedicated people that are driven to make everybody smarter and lift all boats and not really think about, well, I gave you this great bit of advice, I'm going to send you a check, right? I have friends that call me that are pseudo competitors in the space that have their own consultancy. They'll call me and ask me about their business model, or ask me about a different client, or ask me how would I approach this? I don't turn around and send them a bill. I sometimes call them. I often call them and say the same questions. And so just the very giving nature of this community is unlike any other that I've ever seen, and I wouldn't want to be in any other industry out there. All we have ever asked somebody is to be respectful, have a good idea, ask a lot of questions, be humble, don't be cocky. And this industry will do whatever you want. I mean, you were telling me you've done this podcast with people that have been in this industry forever, friends of mine. Yeah. And when you ask me, I'm like, you betcha. Let's do it, because you're a good man. You've got smart ideas, and you ask the right questions, and you make good statements and observations, and that's all we want, right? And
thank you.
That's what has been great about you and so many other people that have come into this industry, is that we don't mind ever helping somebody to be a thought leader, to be smarter, or whatever. There's no membership requirement. All there is do you need help? Can we help? What do you need? How can we help you advance your goals and have a good dialogue? Because somewhere out there, hopefully this helps somebody do something different, right? This is where you mic drop and you just walk in, I'm done. That's it. We're good.
Yeah. Mr. Ryan, thank you very much.
You're welcome.
I really appreciate the kind words and
you bet. I'm honored to be here.
Yeah. And I'm sure I will see you on the weekly
there'll
Zoom.
Be a call. So yeah, we'll be on a call somewhere soon.
Yeah. Amazing.
Thank you, Sal.
הפודקאסט בחסות דאטה מדיה, המלווה ומייעצת לחברות בארץ ובחול בפעילות אימייל מרקטינג אפקטיבית ואווירות אימיילים. אימייל דליברביליטי.